Hello, MavMind Collective, and welcome to another episode of the HypnoSellers Show. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create a custom self-hypnosis. Recently, I've had several people asking me to show them how to create a custom self-hypnosis. And the reason is because, they have other scripts they might have downloaded, or they might have purchased other hypnotists that put out self-hypnosis tapes or recordings that they use, but they're very generically made. They're for generic types of things you might want to change, like more confidence, or stop smoking, or, overcome your fear of stage fright, or stop eating so much, gastric band surgery hypnosis. There's very specific and generic ones that you can get available all over the internet. But my friends and family and colleagues and people that know me are like, Maverick, I want to create my own specific one because I have a specific situation that I'm in, or a specific thing that I want to change. And I don't really want to tell anybody. I just want to make my own, listen to my own recording, because like I tell them, if you listen to your own voice, it's more effective than listening to somebody else's voice on a recording to try to give you commands. Give yourself commands with your own voice. You trust yourself more, so making your own recordings is much better, but they just don't know where to start. They don't know what to include. So that's what this episode is about, is showing you the 4 things you need to include to make sure you do it right and do it professional, have a professional hypnosis script that will work every time, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to include an induction. Now, what is an induction? Induction in a very simple manner is a way of getting your subconscious into that hypnotic state. You have to get yourself into the hypnotic state in order to receive the commands or suggestions, which is the third step. So the first step is to induce the trance. So as I've talked about before in previous videos, we're always inducing ourselves and each other into trances all the time, or we're being induced into trances all the time. It's a naturally occurring thing that happens to all of us. Either the environment induces it, or someone else induces it when they talk to us. I might be inducing it right now as you're watching this video. I might be inducing a trance in you if you're paying attention more and more to what I'm saying, right? We're doing it all the time, whether we know it or not. So you want to induce the trance, and there's 2 ways you can induce a trance, and you want to write this out, whichever method is the most appealing to you, what you feel the most comfortable. I use both methods in my self-hypnosis, and then I have a choice. I can choose which induction version that I want to use each time. And so the first one is what's called a progressive relaxation. And a progressive relaxation is nothing more than progressively relaxing each part of your body, okay? Each part of your body. So you tell yourself to put your attention on the top of your head, and relax the top of your head. Now put your attention on your forehead, and then relax your forehead. And then and you just keep doing that to all aspects of your body, from the head all the way down to the very tips of your toes. And typically you'll even say that. And now at the very tips of your toes, you relax every part of the tips of your toes until they're relaxed. Now they're relaxed. And you just progressively do that with every single part of your body, from your head down to your toes, the top of your head, the tips of your toes. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can start with your toes and say, put your attention on the tips of your toes and relax the tips of your toes. Now move to the bottom of your feet and relax the bottom of your feet. Now put your attention, and you're saying this, you're writing this out to say to yourself, and progressively relax from the tips of your toes all the way up to the top of your head. So you can go from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, or the other way around. But you want to do one or the other, whatever you feel comfortable. But that's called a progressive relaxation. And you want to write that out and then read that to yourself in order to induce the trance, okay? The other way that I do it, that I like, it's more modern, is I just tell myself to imagine or visualize the space that I take up in the room that I'm in. Then I say, imagine the space that is around me in the room that I'm in. And I always end each time I do that, I say in space. It's very key. You say in space. So your subconscious goes, what? In space? You mean within space? What do you mean? And then you want to kind of take it off guard a little bit by saying in space after each one. So you would progressively say, how much space are you in now in the room you're in? How much space is the room in relative to the building that it's in? How much space is there between the room you're in and the space of the building that you're in space? And how much space is the building that you're in with relative to all the other buildings in your neighborhood in space? And how much space is there in the neighborhood that you're in with the entire city that you're in space? And you just keep going like that until it just goes out all around progressively. Space gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you're in outer space and you're behind space and within space. And you just keep going like that until it's just absurdly like not even real anymore. And by the time you get there, your subconscious is open, and it's naturally, you've induced a hypnotic state by doing that. If you do that all the way out to like inside, outside, behind space, within space, outside of space, all of space, and beyond space. You just keep going until you can't go anymore. And that's inducing it in a more modern way. And you always say in space after each focus attention, each expansion. And that will open your mind up each time when you say in space. Now, people ask me, how long does that take to do the progressive relaxation or to do the space and in space all the way out to outer space? It's about 10 or 12 minutes typically, I found on average, if you do it right, because you want to pause like 2 seconds between each thing. What I was telling you right there, to kind of give you an example, I was going through it very quickly, but when you actually write it out, you want to write out in your script, pause 2 seconds. Put it in there so you remind yourself when you're reading it to wait 1, 2, and then go to the next thing, and then say the next thing to yourself in the recording, pause 1, 2. You always want to have a couple seconds to give yourself enough time. And if you do it right, it'll take 10 or 12 minutes just to record that induction. Now, once you've induced that successfully and you got yourself into that hypnotic state, you want to do the next step, which is the deepener. And a deepener is a method to just put yourself even deeper into the trance that you've already induced. So once you've induced the trance, you want to go deeper, and you want to make sure it really locks yourself in, your subconscious, into that state, so you're ready for step 3, which is the commands and the suggestions, which I'll talk about here in a minute. The deepener that I like to use, there's many different ones. The one that I like to use is the staircase deepener. And it's a very common, you hear this and see this in a lot of scripts because it's very effective. And all you do is you write out your script that you're at the top of a staircase that has 20 steps. There's 20 steps down. There's a handrail. It's very well lit. You can see all 20 steps. You can see all the way to the bottom, but you're at the top. And you say, in a moment, I'm going to start counting. And as I count from 20 down to 1, you're going to take a step down the stairs with each count. Each count I give, you're going to take a step down the stairs. Starting now, when you're ready, with 20, 19, 18. And you just progressively go down the steps, pausing in between about a second or two. 17, 16, 15, just like that, all the way down until you get to the bottom. 2, 1, and 0. You're now at the bottom of the stairs, and you see a door in front of you. And when you're ready, open the door and walk through. And that's it. It's just a deepener. And when you're listening to yourself say that and set that up, that image of being at the stairs, and then you're going to take a step, 2019, in your mind, when you're listening to it later, you're going to be in a trance already because of the induction that you just did for 10 or 12 minutes. And now you're going to take another 5 minutes to go 20, 19, and imagine going, every time you hear yourself count, you're taking another, and you're going deeper and deeper into the trance. You're locking yourself into this trance state for a while so you can be totally open for step 3, which is the commands or suggestions. And at that point, when you walk through the door, now you simply start giving yourself commands. Whatever commands you want to write out, the positive statements that you want to get into your subconscious. Make sure they're positive. You don't want to have any negative. You don't want to say anything that you're not going to do. You say all the things you're going to do, the things you want to do. And I like to phrase it in the moment because I know the subconscious always knows that now is all that matters. It only understands this current moment. So I always say, you now are doing this thing. You are now confident. You are presenting in front of people, and you are now brave and confident, and you are successful in presenting very effectively to your audience, for example. Or if you're trying to, work on your golf swing, you say, and now you're swinging the golf club perfectly every time, all the way through. You see yourself in slow motion, even though you swing it at fast motion, you see yourself and you see the perfect execution of the perfect golf swing. And you just keep reinforcing it with commands and suggestions, right? And the reason I say commands or suggestions is because some of us need to hear a command like, do this thing, you are doing this right now. Some of us also are more effective if we hear a suggestion. We say, and in a moment you start to take the swing, and when you're done swinging, you'll hear it and feel the swing come to the other side. And you suggest it, but you don't say you're doing it, you suggest that you're doing it, and you leave it at that. And then some of us are more like, we just hear the suggestion and it's more effective than a command. So you want to mix it up and have some commands and then some suggestions to allow your subconscious just to make it, let its own decision. It makes its own decision on which one it wants to take and get into the subconscious. And that way you effectively reprogram your subconscious with those commands or those suggestions. And then the last part, last but not least, is you want to terminate the trance successfully. And what they call this is a count out. So you want to count up. So it's usually 5 seconds or 5 counts. And you say this, you write this out to say to yourself, in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when I reach the number 5, I'll be fully awake. You will be fully awake. You'll be fully refreshed and feeling good. And you always want to put like positive, emotional responses, physical responses too. Like you'll feel refreshed, you'll feel alive and wonderful, you'll be happy, you'll feel so much better than you ever felt before when I get to 5. So when I count from 1 to 5, you'll start to wake up. And when I get to 5, you're going to be totally fully awake, refreshed, and feeling wonderful. Ready? 1, starting to wake up now. 2, you're starting to wake up, you're starting to open your eyes. 3, you're waking up. 4, and then 5, fully refreshed and feeling wonderful. You feel so good right now that you're fully awake. Something like that. Just walk yourself up from 1 to 5 and wake yourself back up. Now that's assuming that you want to use this hypnosis to wake yourself back up. So if you're doing it in the morning and you want to wake back up, you can do it. If you do this for a hypnosis that you want to fall asleep to, then you don't have to include the trance termination because you don't want to terminate it. You want to just let it drift you off into sleep. And that's what I use. I use it at night. I don't put this in. I just simply say, and now you will slowly drift off into a nice restful sleep. You'll vent out your different ideas and subconscious things in your dream state, and you will dream about it and you'll remember the dreams in the morning. Something like that, just to allow yourself to accept the fact that, okay, now I'm just going to drift off and go to sleep now. And then, because you're already in a hypnotic state, it's only a few more seconds you'll go right into a deep sleep. So I use this to actually help myself sleep at night. When I feel like I can't sleep, I do a hypnotic induction. I deepen myself with the staircase, and then I give myself commands and suggestions, and then I tell myself just to go to sleep. And that way I use it as a sleep aid as well as a reprogramming mechanism to customize exactly what I need to hear, the commands I need to hear to improve myself in my life. So those are the 4 steps. And it's up to you to now go figure out how you want to create your induction, what your deepener is, whether it's a staircase or you can use an elevator. If you want to, you deepen elevator and you watch the numbers in the elevator go 10, 9, 8, 7, you can deepen yourself that way. And then whatever the commands are specific to you. And I wish you the best of luck of using your script and recording your script and getting the change, achieving the change that you want in your life right now with your custom script. Thank you for watching. I know you find value in these videos, didn't you? So if you like me or in a customer-facing role, I'm wondering if you want to watch another video now, all designed to help you get better at what you do every day. Or not. You don't have to watch another video if you don't want to.